All right, so you need your note packet out today, and that's pretty much it, other than a writing utensil. We'll be on C.2, which is in your note packet. Okay. So up at the top, we added a little section up at the top of all of them in this unit for warm-up problems. And so for today, there's 5 warm-up problems that I would like you to do. Okay? So the first 2 are converting the math expression, or converting from words into a math expression. That's what we did yesterday. And then there's some evaluating ones that we had from previous units and all that fun stuff. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to work on those 5 problems. So the action word that we're looking at in this first one is less than, right? Is that add, subtract, multiply, or divide? That's a subtraction one. Okay. We're also looking at double x here. What's double x? 2x. Okay. So is this going to be 10 minus 2x? Or is this going to be 2x minus 10? 2x minus 10, because we want less than the 2x, so 2x minus 10 for that one. Give me some thumbs. Let's see some thumbs on. We got that one. We missed. Thumbs up. We got it. We nailed it. Thumbs to the side. We put it in the wrong order. Thumbs down. We got the wrong operation. Okay. All right. Okay. Product. What is product? Product is what? Multiplication. Okay. So that's going to be 7 times y, right? Okay. Product of y and 7 is 7 times y. Decreased. What is decreased? Which operation is that one? That's subtraction. So this is going to be 7y minus q. Okay. Then we got some evaluating type ones. 2 plus 1 is 3. So that part changes first. Then we've got 3 minus 6 times that. Multiplication comes next. 6 times 3 is 18. Still have 3 minus that. Gives me a grand total of negative 15 there. Questions on negative 15? Two times 3 is 6. So then this is 1 plus 6 minus 4. 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 minus 4 is 3. We get 3 for that one. In number 5, what do I have to do first? Common denominators first. What is the common denominator? 6. First fraction doesn't need to be changed because it is in the 6th already. What times 3 gets me 6? 2. So I got to multiply the top by 2, and I get 2. And so I've done step number 1, find my common denominator. I've done step number 2, I've adjusted my fractions. What's step number 3? Add the numerator, so add the top. What about the bottom? Keep it the same. 1 plus 2 is 3. So we get 3 over 6. Then our last step on all of our fraction problems is reduce or simplify one of the two. Is there a common factor between 3 and 6? 3. 3. We can both be divided by 3 here. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So my final simplified reduced answer is 1. Okay. All right. Today we're going to talk more about some polynomials, okay, or some expressions. Polynomials is the fancy math word for an expression with a variable in it. Okay? So an algebraic expression is a mathematical phrase that can contain, and you'll have to fill this in now, it can contain numbers, it can contain variables, and it contains some kind of operations. And those operations that we have that it can contain are all of them that we talked about yesterday. Adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. What you can't do with an algebraic expression is you can't solve it. You can't tell me x equals something because there is no equal sign in an expression. So the only thing we can do is simplify. And that's what we're going to get to today. Is we're going to work on simplifying our expressions. I had a typo on the old notes. Okay. So numbers are numbers. We've dealt with those before. A variable is a letter that represents a number. That's what a variable is. Okay. So you've got 26 choices to represent a number. Now, variables can have numbers attached to them. We'll get to them here in a little bit. Okay? But if there is no variable and it's just a number in an expression, we call that a constant. A constant is a number on its own with no variable attached to it. On those variables, we have what's called a coefficient. Now, the true meaning of a coefficient is a number that is multiplied by a variable. Okay? But where you find it, and you should write this down right underneath that one, where you find the coefficient is, it is the number in front of a variable. Okay. So if we had something like 17x, 17 here would be the coefficient. If we had something like negative 8y, negative 8 would be the coefficient. If we had something like m, then 1 would be the coefficient, because technically there's 1 m. That's why we wrote it down. Okay? So a coefficient is a number out in front. Now, in an expression, we have something called terms. Terms are anything that is separated by an addition or a subtraction sign. That separates terms. Multiplication and division does not separate terms. Only addition and subtraction separates the terms in an expression. Okay. We'll deal with like 3 of them here coming up. Okay. Now, some of your terms may be called like terms. Okay. Like terms have the same variables, and the kicker here is this word right here, and it has the same exponents. What I mean by that is, I'm jumping around here. Okay. So if we had an expression like 3x squared plus 7x, those are not like terms. Yes, they are the same variable, x, but they are not both the same exponent. So those are not like terms. Whereas if we said then minus 4x minus or plus 5x squared, now these two are like terms because they're both x's, and these two are also like terms because they're both x squareds. Okay? So those are like terms, but together they're not all like. Okay? All right? So we are going to ask you to instead of underline here, we want you to circle each. Oops, I should have. We want you to circle each term in the expression. Okay? So in number 1, how many terms are there in that expression? Total number of terms. Let's circle them. 5x is a term, right? So there's 1. We got a minus sign, right? So that means that negative 8 is another term. We got a plus sign. That means that x is a term. We got a minus sign. So that means that negative 1 is a term. So how many terms do we have? 4 terms. There are 4 terms in that expression. Looking at all of the terms, which terms have coefficients? First, second, third, or fourth? Which term or terms have coefficients? Does the first term have a coefficient? Yes, what is it? 5. 5 is the coefficient. Remember, a coefficient is the number out in front of an x of a variable. Does negative 8 have a coefficient? No, because it doesn't have a variable. Got to have a variable in order to have a coefficient. Okay? X. Does x have a coefficient? What is it, Will? 1. It is 1. Yep. Does -1 have a coefficient? Nope, because it doesn't have a variable. Gotta have a variable in order to have a coefficient. Okay? Constants, looking back up at the top of the page, or actually halfway up the page. What is a constant in terms of definition? What was our definition for a constant? Number on its own, no variable attached to it. Do we have any numbers without any variables? Yes, what are they? 8 and 1. Do we agree with 8 and 1? I do not agree with 8 and 1. -8 and -1, because that's what's circled. Okay. Do we have any like terms? You need one pair of like terms. 5x and x are like terms. Do we have any other like terms? What? The constants. Constants are always like terms with each other. Now, constants will always be like terms with each other. Okay? You now try number 2. Find me how many total terms, the coefficients of whatever they are, if there's any constants, and what are the like terms. Number 2. So we've got one term here at 7x squared. We've got one term here at -9x. We've got one term here at +11. We have one term there at -3x squared. And we have one term there at -2. That gives us 5 total terms. Coefficients are numbers in front of variables. So we've got a 7, we've got a -9, and we've got a -3. Constants. So we would have terms without variables. That's got a variable, that's got a variable. 11 doesn't have a variable, that's got a variable. And -2 doesn't have a variable. Like terms, 7x squared and -3x squared are like terms. They have the same variable, they have the same exponent. Okay? And then our constants are also like terms. So this would be 11 and -2. Okay? Off to the side now, do this one problem. How many terms? Is there a constant? If so, what is it? And what are the coefficients? I don't think there was, oh my gosh, there is a fourth term. It's like I gotta move some stuff up. Hopefully this all comes with, there we go. Perfect. We'll move this up in the corner. Maybe you can see all of our questions. Make sure there isn't a fifth question. There wasn't. Okay. Go for that. We'll try that one just off to the side or way down at the top. Total number of terms. How many? How many terms we got? 3. Okay. This is called in math, this is called a trinomial. Okay, because there are 3 terms. Is there a constant? Yes. Okay, and it's 1. Coefficient of the first term? 3. Coefficient of the second term? -4. Okay. Are there any like terms? Any like terms? Nope, there's not, because there's 2 terms that have the same variable, but they have different exponents. So there's no like term. Now, one thing I want to talk about is on your homework, it says on number 5, it says write the third term in your answer blank. So what that would be like if you would go through here and you would, so there's one term, there's two terms, there's the third term, so it would be, the third term would be +1. It's however it's written, whatever that third term is. Okay?